That is between Gary and nowhere. I was gone to places. Time has no consequences all day. Sky into my praise. I wanna go to beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I wanna go to beautiful.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is the Reach Podcast Show with your host, myself, LeVar Ellis, and we have a lovely guest live in the studio this morning, and we are excited. This is season number 3, man. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for everybody that's been rocking with the show, been watching the show, keeping up with the show, people that's been hitting me, saying, man, where you at, where you at? Well, I had to take a break. You know, we had to take a break and get ready for this new season, these new interviews. And so the books are open. So a lot of people have been hitting me up. If you are looking to tell your story and come on the show where we tell the story of the community and the people that are driving those stories in the community, just hit me up, hit the inbox. DM me on Instagram, hit me on Facebook, or you can email at thereachpodcastshow@gmail.com, and we can have your story featured here on the show. We can make it happen for each and everybody. But shout out to everybody that's joining us on Andrea's live on Instagram, my live on Instagram. What's up with y'all? And then, of course, if you are tuning in on either YouTube or Facebook, we salute y'all, and we thank you guys for watching and being part of the show. And, of course, I know you guys are looking for the promo. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The promo will be coming for the new season and all of the wonderful things that we'll be doing. But today we are here definitely to share the story of this young lady and all the amazing things she's doing, some of the work we're doing together, you know. And so we're just proud of this show reaching a season 3 and just for the reach that it is actually making and for the connections that we are making and all of the positive things that are going on here in the community. But as we always do, there's a couple of things I like to go over and just make announcements. But the first thing is our show sponsors. This show is powered by none other than Dad Chronicles, which is my 501c3 and my nonprofit. And just salute to all of the men that have been rocking with me, doing some amazing things here in the community. Shout out to all the guys that have been part of our King Conversations, the platform that, you know, has been kind of building and building from week to week. We have had our 4th session, and we did it this past Tuesday, right here where we are now. Big shouts out to the Black Store for allowing us to host that meeting here. And salute to every brother that came through and that was part of the conversations, man. We are building our men up, networking, and really understanding that we really need to step up as men and fulfill our roles within the community and in our homes. But we can't do that if we can't heal as men and we can't be open and honest as men. So that's one of the main things and the main goal behind that. It is a sacred, safe, vulnerable place to where we can come and we can speak and we can just be open amongst ourselves as men. So just want to make attention to the comments. We had a couple people hollering at us this morning. So good morning to you too. We appreciate you tuning in. So thank you guys for tuning into the show. So again, when it comes to the sponsors, there's a couple people I'd like to acknowledge and a couple businesses I'd like to acknowledge. And I'm going to just go ahead and start with our other show, which is the Mind Matters Podcast Show. And my special host, co-host, I'll say, Dr. P and David, we started a new platform this past November, and it is called the Mind Matters Podcast Show, where we talk about all things mental health and wellness. And we have a great show every Thursday evening at 6:30. You know, so if you can be part of our show, we want you to come out and join us at also another business I like to acknowledge, which is the Black Wall Street New Generation Mall. We're in suite number 150 every single Thursday. So yes, this evening you can catch us over there and come out and network. It's a business type of deal, and we talk about a lot of things on mental health and wellness. And this week we are on, well, we actually part of a 4-week series. It is parenting, and this week we're going to be talking about parenting during social media times, you know, and all the things that comes along with. So definitely tune into that. And then to keep it from being too long, definitely got to give a huge shout out to our sister, Brown Brown Sugar Cafe and Books. My sister Raven is doing some wonderful, wonderful things over there. So if you guys have not been by Brown Sugar Cafe and Books, man, you definitely want to get by there. Andrea, you're doing some things over there, so you can talk about that. We'll let you speak on that really quickly as I take the graphic down.
Okay. No, shout out to Raven. She's amazing. If you haven't been over there, it's a whole vibe. They have women's wellness Wednesdays. I participated in that, and like I say, I mean, it's not that part is for the ladies, but the vibe in there is amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And us men, we're going strong over there too. Another announcement that needs to be made is my man Snader George. He is our art curator for Brown Sugar, and we are set for our second art market is what he calls it. Art market, also mental health and wellness market. So if you like art and you have some art, you want to display art, or you just want to go and see it, it's called the ice cream market this time. But it's called the art market, which is also pertaining to mental health and wellness, but they're including a whole spin with the ice cream thing. So you got to come out and see what that's all about and just get connected. But definitely Brown Sugar is the new thing in the city. And as you can see, the address is scrolling down at the bottom of the screen, 5330 Fry Road. Come and catch up with everybody that's over there. Some amazing things happening over there. And I want to also give a huge shout out to my sister in the nonprofit world, Miss Tajana Joyner. She is doing some wonderful things, and I told her I would definitely shout out what she has going on with the girls. I mean, she loves empowering our young queens, and she has a Girls Day Out, Power Girl Day Out with the Camp Lydia. As you can see, it's a $20 sponsorship. So if you want to sponsor a young lady to go out on this deal, it's just $25. You see the information right there. You can send the email, or you can hit the phone number that you see on the flyer. And it is a Camp Lydia Presents Girls Day Out. So big shouts out to Miss Joyner, being in the school. She's in the A-Leaf system and just doing some wonderful things with her organization and all the girls over there. So we definitely want to shout that out, and we appreciate all the things that you're doing. So with all that being said, man, again, it is the Reach Podcast Show. I am your host and founder, LeVar Ellis. And you are, ma'am, don't tell people your name.
I'm Andrea, your certified health guide.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so this is a part where we just get into the story. And, with that being said, it's kind of crazy how we met. We met over here. I think the first time was I was just going to the agriculture part when I brought Landon up here. You were doing some stuff, and he got all interested in that. And you did a wonderful thing. So I just lead off with just telling people who you are and give us a little bit of your background before we get too far into the things that you're doing. Who is Andrea?
Okay. Well, my name is Andrea again, and I'm a certified health guide specializing in colon hydrotherapy, yoga, and yoni steaming. I've lived, a holistic lifestyle I grew up pretty much doing this. So my background is business. I was an accounting major, but this wellness lifestyle has been something that I guess I'm just not supposed to hold in for myself. So here I am, Andrea, sharing that part of my life. So,
that's what's up. That's what's up. And a little bit about, let's talk about, not to cover it quickly, but just to get that part out there on, what is it, Thursdays or Tuesdays? You do your little live.
Okay,
and
so
I can say little live, but it's a big live. You got some big things going on there. So let's talk about that a little bit.
So Thursday evenings, 9 p.m. Central Time, I go live on Instagram. And essentially what I'm doing there is basically giving a space for vulnerability and connection. So that live is pretty much an opportunity for me to be vulnerable, for anybody who comes in to be vulnerable, and just share their experiences, more specifically on health and wellness. But I do emphasize the healthy and sexy part of that, because I think that many times people aren't necessarily so concerned about health until other issues start to pop up. So that is a space there where we can just have the conversation.
Yeah. And is there anything that you can think of that made you go into this part? I know you've been doing the health and wellness, living a healthy lifestyle for a long time. We all can't say that,
Yeah.
So outside of that, what made you say, you know what, this is the route that I need to take. I need to help my people. I need to inform people. You know, whatever the case may have been. What was I call it the aha moment. What made you say that?
So I was traveling. I had gone into the travel industry for some time, and I recognized that because that was one of my passions, traveling as well. So I recognized that it wasn't necessarily agreeing with me. So I had to redirect and decide it was one of those things where I kind of felt like I was being directed. So maybe I was running away from my purpose in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was a redirection for me. I had to ground myself and actually do my own healing process from being such a busybody.
Yeah.
And so that is what kind of put me on this journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. And so, what did it take for you to decide exactly like the lane you were going to get in? Because when you talk mental health and wellness, there's so many different lanes and so many ways you can approach it. What was your decision making process like on that?
So my first wellness certification was actually the colon hydrotherapy certification. And essentially what happened was I was traveling, and if you're a traveler or you travel a lot, you notice that y'all we get into the nitty gritty just so you know.
Talk about it.
You know that you're holding a lot in, okay? You're traveling, you're probably eating worse than what you normally would at home, and you're just not going to the restroom. Like you're not allowing your body to do its normal processes. You're not sleeping properly. You partying harder than ever in some cases. So I actually thought maybe I was experiencing like appendicitis or something because I had like a pain in my side. And so I actually, there's a lady in the city. She's been doing this for over 40 years, right? Shout out to the Urban Colonics. And I went to her and I had the process done, and that made me want to learn how to do it, potentially because I saw such immediate benefits that I felt like if I needed to save somebody that I cared about, that I could, because I recognized just from that one process how much we needed it.
Yeah.
So that was the first certification that I got. I was still working in the travel industry, so I ended up still doing that, but I wanted to it put me in the position to kind of gain other certifications, which ended up with the yoga and the yoni thing.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
And so you say you saw immediate gratification and results and stuff like that. Do you feel like if someone does it, they're going to feel the same way, or do you feel like some people may have the experience where they don't really get why they just did that, and how do you feel in regards to that?
So I would say that it's very rare where somebody does not experience immediate, or I won't say immediate, but soon thereafter benefits. A lot of times those can actually be indications of maybe severe constipation or other concerns where they are just holding on to things, because we have to recognize that constipation can also be energetic. So you can be experiencing stagnation in an energetic form, and if you're not willing to let things go, you're just not willing to let them go. And so unfortunately what that ends up doing is you end up holding on to
BS.
Y'all, I don't know. Look, I don't know how real.
You gonna talk about it.
But the truth of the matter is, it can manifest itself physically, and so you're not necessarily just releasing that kind of trash and garbage. It can be energetic as well.
Yeah.
So I can't say that for the most part you're gonna get rid of something.
Yeah.
You're gonna, and I mean, there's a therapist in there with you. I'll be in there with you, or whoever.
You be holding their hand, talking to them. It's okay. Like
I am, and so
keep your mind off of it.
Yes. So and we ask that you show up with an open mind, because the truth of the matter is it is a very intimate process, and so you're gonna get real with you. And I've seen people actually benefit from talking about what they may be experiencing, as well as they begin to release. There's this sense of relief when you are not holding. Erica taught us to pack light, and we don't do that. So that in turn, we end up holding on to a lot of garbage and a lot of baggage that we need to really just let go of. So
you was real. You was head on when you said, "Oh, we getting into it." I didn't know that was the first thing, so to speak. That you got into, but definitely want to come back to it. But just trying to highlight some of the other things that you do. And where did the waist bead thing come in? Because that's another thing you do. Where did that become part of what you do?
What I do? Okay, so actually, I have one of my very close sisters. She actually got me my first pair of waist beads. It was some years ago. I ain't about to go too far, but it was a while ago. Okay, so and I thought they were amazing because I kind of always like belly stuff, right? I don't know if that was the Britney Spears phase or whatever with the navel ring.
Yeah.
We ain't going there, but that was, I like the adornment. I like the way it felt, and so that was my first time wearing them. And I started selling them a few years back because I just think that it helped me tap into my femininity. It helps, and it keeps you mindful of your waist. Yeah. Like, again, I actually offer a service with that. It's called the tummy toner. You do a colon hydrotherapy session, and you also get a waist bead. And so that is after you eliminate, because during that process, you actually can eliminate waste. And so then you can adorn yourself and then try to keep yourself mindful of, your body and your femininity. That's for the ladies, of course.
Absolutely. Because you on both sides of the spectrum,
I do.
You are catering to our men and our women, our young and our old, and I think that's amazing within itself. So as it relates to the waist beads, what sets you apart? What makes you different? What is your, your approach as to why someone would want these waist beads? And then talk a little bit about, are you making them personally yourself?
So I do not make them. They are handmade in Ghana. And I feel like it's the energy. So with any piece of jewelry or anything that we actually purchase, I think it comes with an energy from where you get it from. So I will say that the intention that you place on it, and I do help you set your intention personally. When you get them from me, if there is something that you are trying to work on, like I say, if it is mindfulness for your midsection, if it is tapping into your femininity, if it is something that, you just want to, even if you want to, like as a confidence booster, because I think sometimes we shy away from things that draw attention to something about us. Like, let's just say, okay, the fupa, right? Well, you got a fupa here, a little belly situation going. It's like sometimes it actually helps to adorn it for you to appreciate it more. That helps you tap into your self-love and all of that.
Yeah.
So I would definitely suggest that if you haven't experienced what it is to wear them, to try it and see what it does for you.
Yeah, it definitely makes you mindful, because you didn't connected with a few young ladies on the Essential Way, and they always like, yeah, man, this, that, and other. And the funny thing is, they're like, I need to tighten these waist beads. Well, it's like they don't even think about the fact that something must be different. You must be losing some inches or whatever the case may be, and you always follow up with people too. So I think so. How important is that for you to follow up with your customers when it comes to the waist beads?
So essentially, I'm really available to you, to you all. Once it's like we build a relationship anyway. So your journey, we're on this journey together. So I love to hear your stories. I love to hear how you've grown in whatever way that we've set the intention for the waist bead. So that part is very important to me.
Yeah.
And like I say, I care to hear how you've grown or how you've evolved in your process.
Yeah.
As far as with where you place your waist beads, so for some, they're kind of just getting familiar with the waist beads, and so they want them to sit a little lower. My first pair of waist beads, I actually ended up with two my first time, but they sat pretty low on me, just around like the panty line, and that was comfortable for me. At that point, I didn't even think to use them as far as like waist management or anything like that, and so that worked for me. So, but if you're working on weight loss, or you're on a journey, or you even just want them to sit up where you can kind of like feel them more, or if you wear crop tops and you prefer them to sit up higher, you can do that for your personal preference as well. And then because what happens with waist beads, where you tie them, as you expand, they're going to rise, and as you either lose weight or your belly, goes down, they'll drop down. Yeah. So it just depends on, like I say, where you are. Because if you're in a space where you may want to adorn yourself, but you don't want to necessarily be restricted, you may not want them to sit up higher because that's not what your goal is. So it can be a very personal experience.
Yeah, I get it. So when it comes, because everything that I'm thinking about and that you do relates kind of to mental health, right? Or wellness or whatever the case may be. So what is, because again, there's so many different ways to look at it. Again, another question as it relates strictly to wellness. What is your approach? What is your thing that you're trying to make people aware of when it comes to wellness? And we'll talk about the agriculture next too, and then tie back into overall what you do and how you're also helping men, because this show is not just about the ladies. We wanted to get the waist bead thing out the way, talk about that, and to let the ladies know, to bring awareness to Andrea and the things that she's doing. But your approach on wellness, how do you approach that when you're talking to your clients?
So essentially, I start with whatever kind of brings them to me, right? Because then that's an immediate concern for them. They've decided that I want to do something about where I am at this moment, and they've come to me to help remedy that situation. So I typically start there, be it a lady or a man that comes in. And essentially, what I encourage people, because I practice holistic wellness, I encourage people to evaluate what they do on a daily basis. Because your lifestyle is determining your wellness, and be it whether you can improve in it or whether you may not have actually been, we don't be doing the right thing. Let's keep it real. And so it's or we're not doing the right things for our bodies, even if somebody has told us that this is the right thing. So I definitely encourage people to make sure that they're tapping into and being more self-aware, because that will guide you. This process for me, I'm sharing this journey, and I'm sharing the things that I've learned and my experiences. But the truth of the matter is, I encourage people to be there, to take ownership of their body, and to be, you're the best knower of your body. And I know that we go to professionals and we go to, people even like me, which is why I call myself a health guide, because ultimately you know yourself better than I do. So I can tell you things that I've either seen work for people, things from, my professional experience, or things that may have worked for myself. But I'm definitely going to encourage you to monitor your routine, monitor how your body responds to the things that you do, and then govern yourself accordingly.
Yeah. And I mean, it's simple as, because I'll be laughing at myself. We've been doing a lot of talking here lately, from the connection and the different things we're doing. And I laugh at myself because you're also a person that, I think if you're out and about and you're doing this, that, and other, and you get hungry, you're not just going to run up in Burger King. You're not just going to stop at Whataburger.
Right.
Why is that? And I know, but I'm asking for the people, because we got to bring the awareness. And I'm listening for myself, because I aspire to get to that point. But man, when I'm hungry, man. So I know that's a big deal. It really is a big deal. And I don't think as a whole we think about that part of life enough. And I think with everything you just said, that's what you're saying. When you get hungry, that don't mean stop at Whataburger. That don't mean stop at Burger King. But I'm guilty. So talk to me and talk to them too.
So with that, it's almost like in your mind, you kind of need to have at least two go-tos. One, the line might be long, or one, they might have closed, something. Try to have your two go-tos that, hey, I'm going to go to this particular place when I'm just trying to do what's best for me. And at the end of the day, the things that I would suggest that are best for you are things that you can readily identify, okay? We're talking about, yes, your fruits and vegetables, but these things are readily identifiable. And believe it or not, they are the fastest of the fast foods that you can actually have. So it's you want to make sure that you are trying to you want to set yourself up for success by having a couple options available to you.
Now hold on, give me some real life
options.
Just from your opinion. I know there's a bunch of different places you can go and stuff like that, but if you were talking to me, talk to me and we talking to them too. So where would you suggest somebody like myself that I'm hungry, man? I'm trying to eat right. I'm trying to. This is my first time. Where would you send me?
So okay, I'm going.
You're a what? You gotta tell people.
So I'm no meat, no dairy. That's how I say that. No meat, no dairy. I don't say I'm vegan because it incorporates other things, right? No leather and no honey. I actually do partake honey, and I do wear leather. So I can't necessarily
it goes deep.
It does, but just so just for the sake of the conversation, I steer clear of.
And why no meat, no dairy?
So at this point, no meat for me is just a choice. I can't say that it is for. I do feel like if we were to consume meat, I definitely think it should come from better sources than what mass production provides for us. So let's just say you went on, your out of town trip or whatever, you left the country and you know that this place, they just caught their fish or they raise their animals better, hey, if that's your choice, because this is my lifestyle, what you choose to do, you have to do what works for you. So what I would say is just be mindful of the sources of meat, right? And for me, I've just recognized that centering my plate around meat just doesn't work for me. The transit time that it takes to process it and break it down, for me, it serves me better to just do away with it. Yeah. At this point now, it even sometimes, even though it look good and smell good, y'all, and I still watch like food stuff all the time. Even though I don't eat meat, I will watch it.
You got good self-control.
Oh my gosh.
Stay tempted.
I eat it with my eyes. But for me, even sometimes it's actually more work to choose, to be honest, depending on, the meat.
Then we get talking about
there we go. But we could do that. But with the dairy, actually for me, dairy is highly inflammatory. So it's actually a highly inflammatory food for most of us. And for me, that was one of the culprits that when I was kind of going through my journey, I realized that, hey, this is really actually not working for me. And
I eat lactose intolerant.
Lactose intolerant.
I have become, so I get it, man. It's we don't talk about this type of stuff enough. You know what I'm saying? And then when people hear it, it's like, oh, what they talking about? You just fly past it. And that's why I'm taking, just taking the time to kind of just slowly talk about it and go through it. So at least it's out there. You know what I'm saying? So, I respect you on that. But go ahead. I know you're saying something.
So I'll say that about the dairy, and I'll say that because one of the things, and especially, because I am a woman, so I will speak for this perspective from time to time as well. But with the dairy, they were saying that probiotics, yogurt is a good source of probiotics. I actually had upped my intake in dairy, and at the time where I was experiencing like a high levels of inflammation, it would actually cause my skin to flare. So I recognized that this is not working for me. And then I thought back to when I was a child, okay, growing up in Texas, okay, Bluebell is our jam, okay, and if you can handle it, that's the best ice cream, dairy included ice cream that you can get on earth, in my opinion. At the same time, I remember how it bloated me even as a child. Right. So many of us, and my body has always been pretty sensitive, so when it comes to certain things, whereas some people, it takes them longer. Like you probably were always lactose intolerant, but it just didn't manifest. It didn't show up. And so sometimes I think that is the thing too. We are experiencing these things, but they may not necessarily show up to us until later on. Yeah. But I did want to also answer your question about where you can go. So I'm even working on this too because I have restaurants that I go to, and I'm gonna shout them out because they be jamming. But Green Seed is one if you're in the Houston area. Sunshine is another if you're in the Houston area.
Green Seed, Sunshine.
Green Seed Vegan, Sunshine, and let me think. Okay, so the whole Mo Better Brews, they have Houston Sauce Company. If you follow me on Instagram, y'all have seen my post from Big Hot, which is like Houston Sauce Co., Houston Sauce Pit. So I'm actually kind of low key working on compiling a list of places where
Okay.
people can kind of go. And
Well, a big shout out to one of my community partners and the people that I believe in. It's Soul Food Vegan.
And Soul Food
Vegan. They're my people
Soul
over there.
Vegan.
So you definitely want to go by them. And I think about it, I'm like, you know what? I ain't got no excuse. I can go right there. You know, when you're trying to eat clean, man, it's all about trying to eat clean.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So and then y'all, actually, I would also suggest try taking your trip to the produce section at the grocery store. I know that, and this could possibly be our segue into agriculture, but the produce section in the grocery store, what it's going to do for you, like I said, it is the fastest of the fast food. Okay, so you go in there, you get your fruit, you get you can make you a salad. And don't get me wrong, like, okay, no, vegan or vegetarianism, no meat, no dairy does not always mean salad, people. Okay, because I eat way more than salad, and if you always present a salad, I'm gonna feel away.
Yeah.
So, so there are options now. Okay, we are evolving, and there are other things that we can have and that we can enjoy. So I wouldn't necessarily say that that's all that you can do, but you want to make sure they say this, you want to make sure you want to stay in the perimeter of the grocery store. So the things that have a shorter shelf life. And it's like, if they have a longer, so it says, a rule of thumb is that a shorter lifespan of food gives you a longer life. And shelf stable food
gives you a
shorter lifespan because your body's not processing it.
Yeah.
And it's taking time to process it. Yeah. Whereas things that break down easily essentially break down easily for you as well. So you just want to be mindful.
Let's say that one more time. So the people in the back, the things that have a shorter lifespan as far as groceries, fruit and vegetables,
give you a longer lifespan, and things with a longer shelf life you have a tendency to shorten your lifespan because they're not processing as quickly.
Yeah.
And so they're causing your body more work, and the more that we consume of those things, the more effort it takes for our body to break them down.
Yeah, and I mean, that's interesting. I've never heard it put like that, but just, I mean, when you think about that, so in other words, we're talking about lettuce. We'll use lettuce. You know, you use tomatoes. Those can't stay out too long. You know, they can't just sit there and be good 2 weeks from now. You know, they got to have continuous shifts. But if you get it fresh, you ingest it, that's going to help you live longer, basically, is what you're saying. And then when you get these processed foods that's on the shelf, they can sit there all year long, you know, and you think it's all good. But when you really think about that, those things shorten your lifespan, you know, shorten the things that you can do. That's interesting. You know, I just wanted to repeat that. But that's a good thing. Yeah.
So when you start looking at it like that, it's like, oh, well, why is this lasting so long?
Yeah, because they're adding all this stuff to it. That's why it can stay on those shelves like that. Yeah. And again, it's basic information, but when you hear it a different way, you know, it's really when you can catch on. And I just caught on to that. I just caught on to that again for in a different way, you know. So that's definitely interesting. But you're compiling the list. Are you gonna publish
I am.
this
I am. This was so my sister encouraged this because she know I like to eat. So y'all know I can't be out here just eating fruit and vegetables like salad and smoothies all day. Okay, I'm getting to it, and the people are evolving. So
okay, I'm gonna throw you a curveball now.
Come on.
Since you help out the men, you know, I don't know if it's safe to say that your clientele has been more on the male side than the women's side.
Depending on what the service is,
okay.
But yes.
Okay. And so you have these I don't want to say spicy conversations, but you just have different conversations, right? And they get spicy. So if a gentleman was trying to talk to Andrea and he was going out and he didn't know much about you, it's the first date, and he took you, y'all running around, it ain't a date, y'all running around, and he's like, you hungry? He's like, yeah. And he pull up in the Whataburger or Burger King. How you gonna handle that?
So that is because of my relationship with food. I probably talked about it in the first conversation, so he knows. It ain't nothing on that menu. I mean, occasionally, y'all, I have
it's gonna be what you getting.
Yeah, basically, that's how that's gonna go. Now, I will indulge in some French fries, okay? And this is where like those labels. Again, I'm just gonna segue on that just a little bit, but this is where those labels. You also have to be mindful of the labels, and I know that it can be a tricky thing. But the truth of the matter is, vegan doesn't necessarily mean healthy either. Because if you eat too many French fries, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Whataburger. That's about all I could do. It's some French fries.
Yeah.
But then, you get into the, okay, well, what kind of grease was it fried in and all of this. So I'm not going to be able to do nothing at that point. So, I shouted.
Respectfully decline?
Yes.
That opens the door for you to have that conversation.
Exactly, yes. So it's going to come up,
So this is where I'm at, brother.
Yeah, basically. And like, hey, are you interested in doing this? Because if you're cool with 2 trips, I'm cool with 2 trips. So
we can narrow it down though if we wanted to.
Absolutely.
So I know you were talking about leading into agriculture, and that's kind of the next phase of the things that you do. And again, that was a space that we met in. Of course, being here at the Black Store, they're always doing amazing things in the community, and they were talking about the community garden and getting it together. And me and Landon showed up here, and you were in the back doing your thing.
Yeah.
And Landon was able to, what did you call it? Is it a
seed starting kit?
Seed starting kit, yeah.
Seed starting kit.
And he was able to take his plant home. He nurtured it and took it to his mom's house. And, we monitored for a little while. And, he understands that part. And I just, we're going to start something over here in the space that we are now. And he's excited about doing that. But just talk about agriculture. What does that mean to you? Why did you choose to make it part of your mission and want people to start their own gardens?
So again, on this journey, I recognize that it started with nutrition. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the things that I was personally experiencing, like I say, even from the probiotics, from the dairy and things like that, I recognized that it was a source of nutrition that we were having access to. And also I realized that it's just best to grow your own food. And as a traveler, I actually went to different places in the Caribbean, and those people, everybody had gardens. Like, it was not a thing of where, like, they, how like street peddlers, mm-hmm. like they may be selling like candy and water. They hustle fruit off a tree.
Yeah.
And so, or, some crop that they caught off the side of the road, and they were like, oh, so you're thinking somebody coming in here and they trying to hustle some CDs or some fragrance oil or something. They were hustling produce. Okay. So, and I thought that was so cool to me. And so I was like, dang, I want a garden, and I always wanted one, but nobody taught me how to garden. So, and it wasn't something that I necessarily grew up doing. So I just hadn't gotten into it. But when I had that experience, I was like, okay, so this is the way we're supposed to do it. Mm-hmm. This is the way that we should be living. And I want to tell y'all like an aha moment that I had with greens. So, so you hear, I was like, oh, I'm going to go pick some greens, right? Now, I thought that picking greens was like taking the stem out. Y'all. As I started growing or trying to grow collard greens, so collard greens are actually how I ended up doing the garden here at the Black Store. I'll tell you that story too. But essentially, once the collard greens started growing, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to pick some greens. And then I was like, is that where picking greens came from? So y'all, I'm just saying, like, if we actually grow our own food, what you need a refrigerator for? Mm-hmm. You only need a refrigerator for stuff like, if you eating dairy, maybe like milk and stuff. But the truth of the matter is, when you're hungry, you go outside and eat. And it sounds crazy because we think that everything kind of like comes from the grocery store. And I think we're recognizing now how much of a problem that can be.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, you go and pick your greens from outside.
Yeah.
And that experience for me, when I was finally able to do that, was like everything in the world. Because first of all, they taste. I wasn't even really like a collard green eater because it just depends on how it's made. Sometimes it can be gritty, sometimes it can be tough. But when you're growing your own, like, you can literally sit outside and eat, and when you come in the house, you good.
Yeah.
So I was just it was one more. And how I ended up here at the Black Store, shout out to the Black Store, doing the garden. I was So in this process, you don't start out like a champion right off the bat, okay? And so I have failed at growing stuff for years, okay? And so I came in here actually with this collard green baby in a pot, and I was like, I'm about to kill my collard green. And so, and so I actually came in here for help. There was a meeting here, and there was a guy discussing agriculture, and I kind of thought he was more so kind of, I guess, encouraging it and trying to get like a lot to grow things, but he wasn't necessarily at that particular time in the space to help me with my. I brought the plant into the meeting, y'all. Wow. Because I was like, tell me what's wrong with my baby, because I want to eat some greens, and yeah, so eventually they ended up starting a garden in the back, and so I started coming as a learner, and eventually I just wanted to, I just wanted to see it grow, and I wanted to see it thrive, and so.
So what are y'all doing with that now?
So, and I will say, y'all, that freeze, if anybody the freeze really did a number on us. I think it kind of did a number on my spirit just a little bit, right, because we lost so much produce. And also, for those of us that are in Houston, we have drastic climate changes. Like we will be warm, and then it'll just be like a heat wave that just burns up everything. Or we really weren't necessarily experiencing like really cold winters, and then we had that freeze that one day it just came through and like just massacred everything. So so now we meet every second Saturday though at the Black Store from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and we rotate between seed starting workshops, pruning, and harvest days. And so, because in this process of learning nature and experiencing it, you recognize that there is a time to sow your seeds. There are times to prune your plants, because you just making sure that you're taking care of them, making sure you're being mindful of pest control or anything like that. And then, of course, you have your harvest days where you can celebrate the abundance that has come from your hard work.
All the hard work, yeah. And so you said every second Saturday, I believe that's this Saturday?
Yes.
Can they catch you here?
Yes.
I know you have a team, so talk a little bit more about what you and the team are doing. But talk about second Saturday, and then talk a little bit more about what you and your team are doing.
Okay, so second Saturday, this particular Saturday is actually a harvest day. We're dealing with the climate a little bit, so we're still having to do some pruning and some harvest. And to be honest, like gardening really does teach life lessons. Okay, it teaches you about how things don't bloom all year. It teaches you how there is a certain time that certain crops grow. You as well. It teaches you season. It teaches you about the seasons. It teaches you about how certain crops do better in certain environments. So there are a lot of like deep rooted, pun intended, life lessons that can come from gardening. And so,
and let me do what I normally do.
Okay.
Because you know what my chess. Oh, you're a chess player. We'll talk about that in a little while. She already beat me in chess. I'm gonna go on and say it. I'll let her beat me. No, she beat me in chess, but no, she does good. But when you talk about the life lessons that you learn from gardening, I think about the life lessons that you learn from chess. And so you were talking about seasons and soil and the different climates, and this particular plant might do better in this type of soil. And specifically to relate that to life, what I think about is you can go through a whole season of planting stuff using either the wrong soil or not doing the right things, and you're not getting anything, and you wondering why. And then when you realize what that reason was and you change it and you get a big difference, it's like having a relationship that ain't right for you. It's like being around a group of friends that are not right for you. It's you not doing what you need to do, being your own problem, being the issue. And that's how I relate that, and I think that's really cool that, you relay it that way. And I just wanted to make it a little bit more plain, because it's absolutely the truth. You nourish things the right way, they're going to blossom the right way, and if we nurture ourselves, back to the eating, eating the right things and the stuff you put in, and, it makes a difference. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It really, really does. So I just want to throw that out there.
And I'm glad you did, because people think, and I will say this, one of the challenges that I had is there are actually a couple, but what I'll just mention, well, there were a lot, but I'll just mention a couple. It's timing too, because you trying to figure out why your lettuce, if you have certain lettuce and you're trying to grow it in the summertime, why it's not doing what it needs to do.
It ain't the season.
It's not the season for that. And they tell you that, you just stay down, stay at it. Your season is coming.
Yeah.
It's because things bloom at different times. And so it's
and
not.
And this is the message. I'm not to cut you off again. I got to say, the message for me with that is people always want something. Like, we always want something. We I'll use me for example. I started a podcast and I'm like, man, I'm going to get picked up by somebody. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. It's not necessarily the season for that. You know what I'm saying? You keep, like you said, keep your head down. You keep plowing forward. You keep doing the good work. And if that's meant for you, you're going to get to that point. I'm sorry. You making me have some revelation moments this morning.
But I'm hoping that you're not the only one, to be honest, because the truth of the matter is, even kind of how we've had conversations and I've told you how a lot of these things that I've done, even when it comes to like holistic wellness, like I was like, okay, it's like safe to come out now. Remember? Because there are certain
You've been doing this. Go on, say it.
I'm saying, like, and not that I've been doing it to perfection. I've been failing upward. Like I say, if you're coming and you're interested in gardening, just understand you're still learning from a learner. Yeah. So it's like, I'm still taking notes. I'm still, this is a class that we all have to take. So it's like, I'm still learning in this process. Yeah. So. Yeah,
absolutely. So, and then you and the team before we get off track. Okay. Y'all are doing more than here just at the Black Store. What is I don't know if it's a new mission, but what is the mission that you guys have now, and what is the hope and aspiration for the team?
So with the team, and if you're interested in,
shout out to my man James. I don't know everybody.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to my man James.
So James, there's Janetta, there's Markel, and there are a few other people who come in and out, and I know that time gets a hold of you. But like I say, we'd love to. If you've been away, come on back. And we're still here, and there's still things that we can do and grow and learn together. But we have seed starting kits. They'll be available for you to purchase at the Black Store, and that's regardless of the space that you have. So what you'll get is you'll have the container, you'll have the soil, you'll have your seeds, and you'll be able to start a crop of the season from that. And that helps to move us forward on this mission of everybody having some form of sustainability on their own.
Starting in the right season, in the right time, with the right equipment and stuff.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And that
are you here this Saturday yourself?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say, catch us both here this Saturday. Yeah. You said 11 to 1?
11 to 1.
All right. So come out and be part of the agricultural experience here at the Black Store with Andrea and the team and stuff like that. And I'm gonna pull up as well. So just wanted to go ahead and say that.
Yes, y'all come through. And the thing is because once you start doing it, like, you realize how it's flavors that you've been eating this stuff your whole life, and it tastes so different when you grow it. And kids, and the thing is right now, and especially during the summertime where kids are idle and they need something to do, if you have a garden out there, you have an assignment for them, and you have something that they can actually be proud of, because there is almost nothing more rewarding than growing something either from seed, or even if you get transplants, because seed starting is actually not the easiest thing to do. But even regardless of what it is, and you're nurturing it and you're taking care of it and you're watching it grow, and then to actually have a harvest, whether it's 1 pepper, 3 peppers, like, it does something for you.
And talk on that, because I'm glad you said that, because for me, again, speak for myself, and in my opinion, we talk about crop days, this, that, and the other, and then you talk about the harvest. And when I think harvest, if I got 1 pepper, that ain't no harvest, man. Like, that's 1 pepper, but technically that's the harvest. So if you can kind of speak on how to view the harvest,
So when they say those who can manage a little can manage a lot. And so what happens is, if you figured out how to grow one, you may have grown one pepper from one seed, right? You had one seed, it produced, your plant grew and grew a pepper. Okay, so then maybe next time, because what you will find out in gardening is it will eventually become a job for you. Yeah. It will become a task, because you will not be able, if you can handle all the produce in the world, like, I mean, it's not a thing. It's you just can't. So be thankful for that one seed, because recognize, or that one pepper, because if you could, there are times where people, that's how people have to get assistance. Yeah. Because they have now this abundance and they can't manage it all on their own. Yeah. So accept the fact that you've learned how to grow one, and then try to duplicate it. Yeah.
And I'd like to throw in too, the idea behind the team and moving around and helping people out is you're growing a garden for you. You know, in your household. So it don't have to be a whole bunch. Think about the things that you want to grow, you know, check the seasons and the timing and stuff like that. But if you decide to do more, then understand that it's just going to be more. It's going to be a bigger task. But, you know, I'd say start off with just trying to do things for yourself, so that way it's not too overwhelming. Because another lesson you're going to learn is that if you're not persistent, if you're not consistent, then your stuff going to fall off.
And not only that, abundance requires responsibility.
Yes.
So it's like, it's not that just, you can ask for abundance, but what you want to be able to do is also ask for the ability to handle abundance.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say shout out to my mom. Appreciate you tuning in. She said she wants some mustard greens.
Okay.
I had her come by the house the other day. Me and Landon, we're going to start a little garden right in the front. You know, so if you want to be part of that, or maybe we can get her to go way out there, you know, I'll make the drive. She can ride with me. We'll come in, because my uncle, he has a huge space in the back. Okay. That way I don't have to tend to it. They'll have to do it. There you go. But no, Ma, just let me know how you want to do it. You can come to our side. We'll come to your side. We do both, whatever the case may be, because, you know, starting off gardening is something I definitely want to get serious about. And, you know, I just think it's beneficial, especially, and I'm not doing it for me. I'm actually doing it for Landon. You know, that's the thing. But it's a reason for me.
And the thing about it is, involving the kids is very important in their sustainability, because if they once they acquire this skill, then it's a no-brainer to them. It's almost like then it teaches so many different disciplines. Yeah. Patience, it teaches diligence, it teaches you so many different things. It teaches you the appreciation of the work that you get, the work that you do. It teaches you about seasons. So there's about life, essentially. And so it's like, this is a hands-on, off textbook type lesson, right? I did want to discuss how the team, and then through gardening, you can also build community, because I know I'm not the only one who wants to grow their own food. Clearly, Miss Linda out here wants to grow her own food as well. And so then you end up having people come together because they want to be able to provide for their families as well, which is pretty much what has created the team that's here now, because they recognized the importance. They cared about their diet, they cared about their wellness, and they cared about providing for their families. And so through this process, we've been able to have our harvest days. Like, y'all, last year, and we got a little baby watermelon growing now, okay? But last year, we all
my grandma was there. She loves some watermelon.
What? Like,
grandma.
Yeah. We were able to actually share one of the watermelons that we grew. Now, y'all, it was a little baby watermelon, but we split that thing like 7 ways. Okay?
Enjoyed it.
It was the best thing ever, part because we grew it from seed, okay? Bragging rights, from seed. Yeah. And it was something that we knew was natural. You know, we knew where it came from. So,
no questions asked on that. And then lastly, you guys, you have a team, you have a topic, you have something that you're discussing, but it can also become a business. You know, you can start selling these products, you know, and or just have a business to where you're getting consulted, being a consultant for people, you know, like you guys are doing. If that's something, it's another angle that you can take. But it's just so many reasons why that's a good thing. But to transition, and again, check us out this Saturday. 11 to 1, right here at the Black Store, 8616 Cullen Boulevard, right in the heart of Sunnyside. Holla at my man Lloyd, who's in the audience. Appreciate you. And also Landon. What's up, man? But no, you'll catch us all here on Saturday. But so getting back to the things that you're doing and the health and wellness and all the other. So also, I always give people an opportunity to have what I call a commercial. So we got your website scrolling at the bottom. Talk about that a little bit. Talk about how they can follow you on social media and what they can look forward to finding when they go to the website.
Okay. So Andrea Shares, I'm Andrea Shares on Instagram, AndreaShares.com, and that's Andrea with an H at the end. Okay. So make sure you get to check out the spelling on that. But I offer yoga and meditation. I offer colon hydrotherapy, and I do offer consultations. Also, even if you're into the astrology thing and getting a little deeper in with yourself. And
we're going to talk about it.
And I do those as well. So even on your wellness journey, you can actually kind of tap into some of those things by identifying some of the energy that you actually possess. So those are the things that you can find on the website. You can get waist beads. I will be having teas on the website as well, because again, in the garden, we're growing herbs, and we just want to be able to. But like I say, as part of my journey, I've also have them as well, and so I offer them to those who need herbal healing in different ways, because you again, it all comes full circle. Once it seems like different things, but they're all one and the same. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and as you kind of embark on this journey, you'll recognize how they interact with each other. But yeah, and then also body rubs, because for those who are having skin issues, that was another thing that I dealt with when I was traveling a lot, because my skin is sensitive. Again, like I said, my body's sensitive, so it's like I also needed to take care of my skin, because it was that for me that was how it was showing up. My complications or difficulties, that's how it was showing up. So all of those things, though, you can catch waist beads, everything. You can catch those on the website.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, that's what's up. And so,
come on,
it's time.
Come on.
What I want to get into, but this is your show, so I'm gonna give you the opportunity to choose what you want to talk about first. As want to make sure we cover everything that you're doing. So yoga and meditation, or we can jump right into the astrology.
Just come on,
but
come on.
Decide what you want to end with, and we're gonna go from there. What you want to end with?
I will say because I know that this is something that you're curious about, I can kind of swing the yoga and meditation part, because it's all self-awareness.
Yes.
Basically, that's what it's going to boil down to, is self-awareness, as I spoke to in the beginning. But we can tap into the astrology thing. Y'all take y'all on a different little spin of things. So
here's the thing. If you know me, you know I'm a Scorpio. It's just like when I say, to know me is to know my mom. To know me is to know Landon. To know me is to know that I'm a Scorpio. And this young lady has found out I am what you call a true, through and through Scorpio. But the thing about that is, I've never believed in, the zodiac and the way that people talk about it and this and that and blah, blah, blah. But becoming a little bit more aware and conscious about different things and opening up the mind, to different things, like energy is a real thing. Like that I always knew, but the way you look into it and think about it, like it's a real thing. And with you doing what you do, don't give nobody your birthday and what time and what time you was born, because no. So this is actually a plug, and I'm saying, like, she doesn't even boast about this. But when she does it, she does it. Like, it's a real thing. And what I want you to talk about from your knowledge and, from your perspective is how you came about doing it, why you do it, what makes it important to you. Because with the astrology, she basically read my chart. Is that the proper way to say it? So she read my chart. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I don't even know how to go about it, but she read my chart, but she transformed reading my chart into literal words and situations, things I've been through, experiences I've had, and she was being modest about it, and I'm just like, yeah, what else you see? And she's touching on it, but then she's like, well, I don't want to. So I'm like, no, say what you got to say. And every single thing she said was 100% true. And then she introduced me to some other things because I had got into it a little bit before, but you were more open with it, and then you started Chiron. Is that what it's called? She started introducing. Is that right? Did I say it right? She introduced the Chiron, and I was just like, okay, what that mean? And then she hit it nail on the head on what? How you say? Nail on the head, and it just blew my mind. Is my point. So, with all that introduction being said, what is astrology for you, and maybe how did you get into it? Why do you go down these rabbit holes, as you call it? So yeah, let's talk about it. And you can use me. I ain't shy. You can talk about what you thought when you read mine. Because for me, it was like you simply give your birthday, right?
The cheat codes.
The cheat codes. Your birthday, the time you was born, and where you were born. And that is a sign of, essentially, when you give that, you look at a picture, right?
Yes.
And that's how the sky was when you was born.
Yes.
And all this craziness. Listen, but it's real. So go ahead.
Yeah, I don't be talking about these. But I'm going to do it, okay? So, with that, I would say that, yes, you do, your natal chart or your birth chart it can be a depiction of essentially the energy that we came here with. And this is part of the reason why every single person, it's almost like your fingerprint. It's like every single person is of value because the energy that you possess has a desire to express itself. And it's all important. And in astrology, again, on my personal journey, what I have found that it did for me was it gave me somewhat of like a tangible or an explanation for why I either felt the way that I felt or did some of the things that I do or did some of the things that I've done. And so in the reading with him, we just found, or not necessarily found out, because all I was doing was asking questions about what I saw and trying to confirm, and actually confirming with him whether or not they were true. And so in astrology, and when you have somebody...
No, let's rephrase that. So she was reading the chart, and she wasn't asking if it was true. She was like, this is what you've been through. And because she knew, and I'm still trying to figure out how you could put the stuff you were looking at in the words that you put them in, but still. And again, guys, this is coming from someone who, like, you couldn't just tell me this is what I'm going to do, but I ain't believing none of that. She's proven me wrong. Like, she proved me wrong. So I was saying you wasn't verifying. You was telling me. You was telling me. She was telling me, and it was absolutely true. So anyway.
Well, I'm glad that I was able to give an accurate assessment from your chart.
Yeah.
And I am gonna play modest on this one, just because I think that it's very important that we recognize that we still have free will and we have the options to choose. Or some believe in that, but I'll say that you still can make a decision on your own.
And I was going to bring that up, and since you already brought it up, that was the thing I was going to say in the end as we talked about it. Like, just because she was accurate in reading the chart didn't necessarily mean that the things you were seeing is actually what I've done, which is why I think you were saying you needed to confirm, because the free will part of it. You know what I'm saying? And this relates to health and wellness as well.
Yeah.
And the conscious mind and how we absorb things and go through things and the way we look at stuff. Because even though she was seeing all this stuff, and it's a footprint and a fingerprint and stuff like that, the free will is something else, man.
It is.
It's something else. And you can choose to go opposite of what's going to harm you, or you can choose to go opposite of what's going to actually help you. Yeah. And that's that thing, That's that thing. And that's the tough part about all of it. But anyway, I was just throwing that in there. Go ahead.
Yes, of course, you have to throw that in there. But yes, so through that, and some consider astrology to actually be the basis of psychology, or a basis of psychology. And so again, it can help you to understand and recognize some of the things that you may currently be experiencing, but it's almost like, okay, help me make it make sense. Because a lot of things you felt or you've seen or you've observed, and you know these things about yourself, but it is something you hear about it, but it's almost like this can give you an opportunity to kind of, maybe settle some things in your own mind and maybe put you on the path that you were already heading down, and you just needed that extra push.
Yeah.
So that part of it, and it can definitely somebody like reading anything, be it let's say even if it was, you going to the doctor and you reading blood work or whatever the case may be, any time that you're able to have a better connection with yourself and you're better able to become more self-aware, is going to put you in a position to carry out certain things in your life, and from an empowered position. So, I definitely, if it's something that you're interested in, again, you can find that on the website too.
You need your birth date and the time you're born.
So, and we can discuss some of the things, because for me, when like I said, I've kind of been into that as well, but on a surface level. As I got deeper into it, I find, it becomes less taboo. It becomes a thing that is less mysterious, because essentially we are a part of nature. We, as above, so below. So, and we study the stars. Yeah. So if, it's like, okay, those who are born in certain seasons, they talk about, the fire signs or the water signs, those who have different elements. And all of that it's of nature. It's here. So it's not a thing that is, when you discuss it, it's not a thing that gets scary. It's a thing that helps you become more aware.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And the thing that got me, and I still blows my mind, but is when you identified the issue in a certain relationship that I had over time, and that came from the Chiron, you said? And what does that Chiron do? I just want you to talk about it a little bit.
So now we go into astrology.
This is it. We're going to stop right here.
Just a little bit. But it is, so Chiron is the asteroid that's considered your wounded healer. And it's something that you constantly, you're working on. You're working on it in your personal life, and in a lot of ways, whether or not you can remedy that particular ailment that you may have experienced, or dynamic that you may have experienced, whether or not you can overcome it, but it's something that you can work through or work on continuously. And then in a lot of ways, it can help you help others in that way. And so it really, once you start to look at this thing, you start to see how we are really a part of the whole. And it was actually an evangelist that said, what's in the cake is in the crumbs. And so when you recognize that we are literally all one, you will see how these energies kind of play into each other, and how it's all going to come full circle. You start to recognize why you may be experiencing certain things, and how these dynamics have played out in order to actually help you evolve and help your soul grow and help you go through your journey. Yeah. So, and just another modality.
Listen, but and I'm gonna put it in real words, because when you said it, like you mentioned, and I was this is the part where it was getting real for me, and I was like, nah, what relationship I had a problem with, and you were hesitant at that point. I could tell you were hesitant, and I kept pushing. And so for those of you who follow me, y'all know a little bit of the story. Don't even know the whole story, which that's coming soon, be published. But it's a relationship with my father, and at this point, even when she said it, I had already chose to take that bull by the horn, make that relationship better. But it was absolutely the relationship that had been my ailment, throughout my whole life, not even really realizing that was the situation until I did. And I was like, oh, this got to stop. This got to stop. I don't care what this man got to say. It's going to be better. And I made the choice to make that better. Luckily, we're in a much, much, much better place. Just had my little brother the other day kicking it with us. But, you said something. I can't remember how you put them into words, but you were saying that particular relationship was the one that, you're living with it. Yeah. You're trying to fix it, and you're trying to make it right, and it guides you to help other people, which I said was the reason why I started my whole nonprofit. So when I tell y'all the thing she was saying was absolutely true, it was absolutely true, because that particular relationship, I could look at it as something I don't need, but I'd be forever hurt. Be forever hurt. And I felt like it was something that needed to be fixed, and so I chose to fix that relationship. You know, and it's a ongoing thing, and then it helps me to help other people, and then it helps me to heal myself all at the same time. You know, and that's why you blew my mind with that whole situation. And Mom, there's more to come. We'll talk later offline, but she mentioned you too, and I told her some stuff, but that was a whole nother story. It's just funny, but the stuff was true, you know, at least for me. At least for me, but it was interesting. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, and it definitely, and I thank you for allowing me the opportunity, because it definitely, again, that self-awareness makes you vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it puts you in a position to choose to do something about it or not. And like I say, you know, we may feel like, hey, you know, I've accepted it. I'm not willing, or I'm not uninterested in doing anything about this particular situation. I'll choose to just deal with it, live with it, and take it, you know, bury it with me, take it with me, or whatever. And that's your choice. Yeah. That's your choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes we don't always get that choice. We end up getting shook up. Like, you know, I thought I was going to be flying and running forever, and I got grounded. You hear me? Literally. So you know, it just, hey, you just have to take the journey. And
absolutely.
See, absolutely.
And so, you know, we'll get off of that, but, you know, that was highly, a must. Like, I need to put it in real words so people can think about it. And this show is just all about shaking things up, letting people know what you do, and I hope you get people hitting you up. That's my hope for it. But just moving to the yoga and meditation. I mean, we can end on that, which is another thing that helps you with centering yourself, you know, being at peace, finding a space where you don't have to seek help, you know, so to speak, you know, and just creating that energy. So kind of talk about, you know, what that does.
And I will, and I think this is also a good time we can kind of include the guys in on this one. And so with yoga and meditation, like, I feel an important part of this journey is actually managing stagnation. Okay, there are going to be times where we do need to be still. There are going to be times where we need to wait and listen and observe, and there are times that we need to do. But in those moments of stillness where we are able to quiet our minds, you know, they say that prayer is when you talk to God, and meditation is when you're listening. So it's kind of like there are definitely times where we need to pause and allow for things to take place. And through meditation, through moving, or yoga and meditation, but moving that energy, okay, around, and allowing ourselves to be a vessel for sincerity, for pure, you know, for love, and all the things that we want to experience here. These tools can help us do that. So, and how that ties in with, you know, guys, and maybe even on the mental health part is,
before you go there.
Okay.
So, to you, and I don't know if there's a clinical or textbook definition, what is the difference between yoga and meditation?
So, yoga is a path to meditation.
Okay.
So, well, I would say yoga is like preparation for meditation, so to speak. So it may be a more active part of the process. So it's kind of, they go hand in hand together. And yoga isn't necessarily always just the physical part of it. There are 8 limbs of yoga. So there are certain practices that you take on during that journey. And so you just want to, and all of it brings
information. There's what? 8 what?
8 limbs of yoga.
I didn't know that.
So essentially
8 limbs of yoga, y'all. I just learned that.
It's not just, so when people say, I can't do yoga, and it's kind of like, the physical part that you're looking at, it is actually just one part. So there's again, it's layered. So there's more to it than that.
And when you say limbs, is it levels of difficulty, or
no,
there's
it's just different aspects of it.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
there are different aspects of it.
And why, I guess I should say in my opinion, yoga seems sexualized, right? When I look at it, you look at yoga, it becomes a sexualized thing in the minds of some people, where meditation is not, because you meditate, you just sit there and be still. But you're actually meditating when you're doing the yoga as well. So I don't know if you can speak to that.
So I won't say it's always been or it is always sexualized. It just depends. And I think just the movement, some of the poses can
stimulate those things.
Yeah. I mean,
here's the reason I asked it.
Yeah.
It's because I'm always asking questions out of curiosity. It's not how I'm looking at it, but I know there's somebody, I probably looked at it that way before.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but I know there are a couple people who felt the same way, and I asked this question before, and when it was broken down to me, I'm like, man, it's really about you as a person and how you're receiving it. You know, and it's important that people understand that, because the yoga pants, the tights, the this, the that.
This is a man
people,
speaking, okay?
Yeah, people miss it, but this is a man speaking for the people as well. Because I'm beyond these questions, and I'm totally beyond it. But it's all about trying to reach somebody and help them, because a lot of people get caught up in the wrong aspects of it. Is what I'm saying.
And to be honest, like, if that is what's holding you back from it, if you ever show up to a yoga class, you recognize that
ain't nothing sexy about it.
Well, I mean, you can have a sensual session. It's just not no light work.
Yeah.
And so I think it is made to, some poses may seem a little more challenging, but you learn balance. They talk about yoga off the mat. You learn strength. You learn balance. You learn endurance. You learn, all these different things. You learn
your limits.
And I was just going to tap into that, because there are certain times where you just cannot push further than where you are today. And there are certain times where you did something yesterday or 5 minutes ago, and now you're tapped out, and you got to rest with that.
Yeah.
So, and that's just, again, like I said, the physical part of it. So, it definitely, and to encourage everyone, it's really just the connection that you have with yourself. And so when you find out, you can kind of discover yourself, more about yourself through the process, why you respond. In yin yoga, you actually sit and you hold the poses longer. And your anxiety, if you're an anxious person, will go through the roof sometimes, because what you want to do is move when you're supposed to be still. And you have to sit there with it. And those who tend to run from their emotions, all the things. So, it's a very much personal, again, another personal, self-aware, intimate experience that you can take, and you would live with just you.
Okay.
And so it's not even about the yoga pants and even the mat even.
Exactly.
Some people actually prefer that you do it outside. Without all that. Because,
in the grass.
Yeah, because you're able to ground and connect. So again, all of this just is about tapping into you and connecting then to the whole.
So now I'm going to pick on you a little bit.
Oh,
so for the people that understand it, do you wake up in the morning, go outside barefooted in the grass?
So I do that occasionally. I don't do that every day.
Okay.
In the back, especially, like, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. So the grass in the back is actually really nice, and it's actually even nicer in the fall, in the winter time.
The back of the black store.
The back of the black store, yes. So the community garden Saturday from 11 to 1. This particular Saturday, but second Saturdays every month from 11 to 1. And if you choose to ground, that is that practice of walking barefoot is called grounding. And if you choose to do that, that is a wonderful place to do it.
Yeah. Somebody must have told me they do it because they want the devil to know they up.
I mean, sometimes you do have to stomp out
let them know
situations, but that's interesting.
Oh, Lord, she up. Yeah. And then with the yoga, how often do you practice? Do you practice every day, 2-3 times a week? We know you're a busy woman, but I'm picking on you.
Yes. So just like I say, in the physical form, I tend to do the asana part of yoga at least 3 times a week.
Now you said what? The
asana. That's
what?
also
asana.
Yes, that's also the physical part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the other parts may take a little more discipline from time to time. So I
do it as you go.
I do it as I go.
You know your limits.
I know.
That's what's up.
I'm learning my limits. I push my limits, but I'm learning them as well.
That's that free will.
What? And also, that's the energy that I possess. Also, I came here to push a few limits.
Yeah.
Just so y'all know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I definitely appreciate you being part of the show and the interview. But at this time, I just want to ask you if there's anything that comes to mind, like last word type thing, anything that you like, you know what, I forgot to share that. The floor is yours. If there's anything you want to talk about, and of course, what we call it, give yourself a shameless plug at the end.
Okay, so I had to remember that part. But also, because I didn't actually tap into how, the thing about men and wellness, and then even during research on this, ladies, we typically go to have routine services done, be it even if it's for aesthetics, even if it's nails or hair or whatever the service is, our annual, ladies have a tendency to go and get something checked out, right? And as we were talking about yoga and meditation and those things, and even if and I had no idea. I mean, I knew that guys may have sexualized the movement of it, but I didn't recognize that may be like a thing and I've known that guys may not necessarily feel comfortable doing it, but the truth of the matter is that stillness that is created in it can quiet a lot of unnecessary chatter, unnecessary distractions, and so many like negative thoughts that we have, because again, with stagnation and not allowing our energy to flow, we don't exert it, and so we're really limiting our expression by not tuning in,
right,
so to speak. So I would definitely, if for the guys, recognize that there is something here for you as well. Even on the website, I know I talked about the colon hydrotherapy and things like that. With men,
let's press on that a little bit.
You all have prostates,
yes.
Okay? You have prostates, and
I've been talking about the colon thing for 44 now, at least a good 10 years, right? To the point of like, I'm gonna do it. Beyond the idea of not doing it and saying, oh hell no, I ain't doing that, but like, I guess talking myself into it, and I still haven't done it. What do you say to a man like myself? What do you say?
I would say what a man said to me.
Okay.
And what he said was, it is selfish for me to not do this. And the reason why he said that was because I said, that's a very strong and interesting statement that you made. And he said, my family cares about me, and I am here to provide for them. And so at the end of the day, you need to make a choice, right? We say we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way. And so the truth of the matter,
I forgot you said that, yeah.
The truth of the matter is that actually colon hydrotherapy is probably one of the most simple processes if you can get your mind away from the process itself. It's one of the easiest things that you can do in order to help yourself. And then you can follow up with a lifestyle change. Yeah. Because it's like, if you're going to be stubborn on one thing, you need to kind of give on the other.
Yeah.
So for the guys who are concerned about the process, what are you doing to combat any complications that you may be going? And don't tell me that you go to the restroom and you poop after every meal and you go 2 and 3 times a day and you blew this up and da. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't even want to hear it, because I've been doing this long enough to have seen that anybody who comes in there needs to eliminate. They may be severely impacted, which is why they're not eliminating, or they are eliminating more than what they could have ever dreamed. Yeah. So it's just time out, make a decision, okay? Get together in a huddle. Y'all decide what is okay and what's not okay. Y'all come back, y'all let us know, and then y'all go and get checked. And y'all go and do the necessary things. And that's just it.
Is there any necessary things we need to do prior to coming to make it, I don't know, I don't want to say easier, but just...
You show up with an empty stomach and an open mind. It's that simple, okay? And I get that there is a psychology around the way that the process works. Okay, so we're gonna get into the gritty of it now. But
it's going up your butt. Okay?
Yes, there is a speculum that is inserted in through your rectum, and then water goes in the rest of the way. Okay, your colon is your body's trash can. If you are not taking out the trash, and then people tend to say, "I go regularly." Okay, well, men do not produce babies, so what is that that's sitting there? And it's like,
and we're laughing about it, guys, but this is important.
This is a
and this leads up to the whole thing that I'm doing for Father's Day weekend, men's mental health, man. That's what it's all about. But go ahead. It's important. We're joking and laughing about it, but it's absolutely an important thing to do.
And I'm gonna try to have a good time with this, you know. And I'm gonna, and that is, I think, the mission for me to help you recognize just how you can enjoy actually taking care of yourself, because you operate more, you will function better. You don't recognize literally how much blank you are holding on to.
Yeah. I mean, cancer, you know, it's the number one thing. You know, constipation at the simplest level. Just so many things that can come from not getting it done. And if we, and I like what you said, the man said, it'll be selfish of him not to do it. And that's kind of the mind frame I'm going in, you know. If not for my son and my brother and all the brothers that are with me with the movement, it's like, if we don't take care of ourselves, who's going to do it? You know,
well,
it starts with us.
Yeah, or some person that you care about is going to overexert themselves to take care of the things that you didn't want to, because they don't want to see you suffering.
Yeah, absolutely. But man, anything else? I keep interrupting.
No, that's y'all. I thank you so much for allowing for this.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for just the conversation. I will say that if there's anything that piques your interest, you can reach me on social media at Andreah Shares. You can go to the website www.andreashares.com. Or
they can jump in your conversation
on Thursdays, for Thriller Thursday at 9 p.m. We're going to this evening. So we're actually building intimacy through relationships with others. Last week we did building the intimacy within ourselves, and now we're building intimacy in relationship to others. But next week we'll be starting off the journey through the energy chakras. So if those are some things that
you're talk about the chakras. I got to be part of that one.
So if those are some things that you're interested in, tap in Thursday night Central Time, 9 p.m. Central Time, for Thriller Thursday on Instagram Live. And like I say, check out the website. There's, if you have any questions, like I say, send me a
message. I did want to talk about that briefly. When you're having back pains, you can't figure out what's wrong. I know it's something about a chakra. So what chakra would that potentially be?
Well, no, I would say that's more a colon hydrotherapy thing. I'm not even gonna lie to you, because
that's it.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Already. Man, so thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Again, catch us this Saturday over here for community agriculture and cultivating and seed planting, seed starting. We'll be here at the Black Store, 8616 Cullen Boulevard from 11 to 1. So come and check out myself, Ms. Andrea, and the team, whoever's here, and be part of everything that's going on. And it'll be every second Saturday. But we thank you guys for tuning into the Reach Podcast Show, where we are telling stories of the community and the people who are driving those stories. So we want to say thank everybody for tuning in, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or on Instagram feed. We thank you guys. Catch us back next week. And again, if you want to be part of the show, or you have a story you want to be told, inbox, DM, Facebook me, email me at the reachpodcastshow@gmail.com, and we can definitely get you set up to join us. So again, we appreciate everybody. Y'all have a great weekend.
Yeah.
Absolutely.